It's time to spotlight the future of AI and discuss the AI trade. Joining us now is Shay, Boloor, the Chief Market Strategist of Futurum Equities. Shay, thanks for being with us today. First, we're going to talk about Futurum's AI 15. Can you tell us first what the AI 15 is and what the process is for picking out who makes the list?
Yeah, first I want to say thank you for having me on. And I think that the Futurum AI 15 began 3 months ago, where we wanted to create a list that was going to be rebalanced every 3 months on where new money in the AI economy is going right now at this moment. So the first AI wave, we clearly saw it was all about hardware, servers, computes. That's why Nvidia just continues up to the right, because they are truly the GPU engine of this new digital economy. Then after the Nvidias of the world, we start seeing the Mag 7 names kind of have the software sprint where they're bolting on Gen AI into their whole product suite, and their ability to do it at the rapid pace that they can was why they benefited right away. So we're talking Google putting Gemini in search, we're talking Microsoft Copilots in Office, we're talking Meta with smarter ad targeting. However, we at Futurum believe that this chapter is largely priced in. So we wanted to create a list that was outside the Mag 7, which 15 names we believe the new money is currently going to in this AI economy that's rapidly changing, and the pace is way greater than we initially anticipated.
And so you mentioned that first wave of Gen AI, sort of what we all thought of when all the chatbots came out. But we've seen the AI trade change so much and pivot really into the AI infrastructure of all of it. So how many of the plays are in the data components and the physical component of AI?
Well, there's two monopolies outside of Nvidia that a lot of people don't really discuss as much as they should. We're talking TSMC. They are truly the AI factory of this new digital economy. Their wafers are the only reason Nvidia is able to have these advanced GPUs. Then we also have ASML, who essentially creates the lithography tools in order for these advanced GPUs to also be available in the market. So we have the AI kingmaker in ASML and the AI factory in TSMC. Monopolies that nobody's touching. Then we also have Broadcom, which I think is the most hidden $2 trillion company in the world, where they control 70% of the custom AI chips for Google and the high-speed gear moving the data between all the hyperscaler centers. So when you think about all the AI data centers that all these hyperscalers are creating, we get the news story every week that Google, Meta, Microsoft, they're creating these billion-dollar data centers. Broadcom is the AI highway for those data centers to even be able to reach their maximum capacity. So when you think about AI becoming intelligence, I view Broadcom as the Uncle Sam of AI a bit, because they tax on all the workloads that are happening in AI. Then we also have a lot of the software names that have kind of had a bad rap, because nobody really wants to live on SaaS Avenue anymore in this new digital economy, where the AI tsunami is coming for that whole sector, and it's going to be a noisy for the next couple of years. But you have a couple of names like the Palantirs, the Snowflakes, the MongoDBs that are actually providing the data rails for these enterprises to feed proprietary data into their models. So when you think about what I just said right there, it's really these models that all these LLMs are having right now. They won't be able to learn from the business data without these three data infrastructure software names.
Two great terms in there, SaaS Avenue and the AI tsunami. I want to focus on the second one there. What would you say is the biggest mountain in the way of the AI tsunami in terms of a roadblock scenario?
The biggest mountain is making sure you're not a layer. I think it was really okay for a lot of these tech companies to become a layer into the tech stack, because a lot of these CTOs and IT firms that we talk about, there was just so much spend in general IT the past 5 years, in the post-cloud era to be exact, but also when the ChatGPT moment happened in 2022, I think a lot of CTOs were just overspending on a lot of software companies that were just providing a layer in their stack because they felt the pressure from the CEO or the board or whatever reason. What are you doing to make sure we're ahead of this AI race? So now these AI tools that are out there, it's very easy, or it's a lot more simplified for these hyperscalers to create a competing product. I think a perfect example is these software companies have a lot of AI native customers, OpenAI especially, where 4 years ago, they were probably a lot smaller than the actual software companies that they're being used from. Now, with OpenAI being a $500 billion company, they are creating replicated services for themselves that they don't have to really go to these vendors anymore. So I'll give you a perfect example, Datadog. Datadog was a company that I was very confident in a couple years ago. Now I believe it's it's a Gen AI vulnerable name because they specialize in observability and making sure their clients don't overspend on the cloud. Essentially, I see a lot of overlaps in what an AI agent can do. OpenAI was using Datadog, was one of the Datadog's biggest customers, and now they're kind of creating an observability product that replicates what Datadog was doing, and now they aren't going to be using Datadog as much. And I think the key metric to track on a perfect example of what the relationship that happened in Datadog and OpenAI is, do not track the customer count, because I don't believe customers will be leaving these software companies. I think they're going to be utilizing less of their services. So whenever you hear a firm talk about, oh, the clients are increasing, like we have this many clients growth year over year, that is, in my terms, just corporate jargon. You really need to track the utilization, the NRR, how much they're actually improving year over year on the revenue front, because that's the real tell of if you have an AI lifeboat in the AI tsunami, or you're just on the boat screaming, we're safe, but really you're going to drown in a couple of years.
These analogies are fantastic. So if we're in the AI lifeboat and, AI, the driver of this fourth industrial revolution that we're seeing, how is AI as a complete movement in changing the landscape of our everyday lives going to impact just the general public, but also the broader economy?
So I think the initial gut reaction to that is our grid is not ready for what's about to come. And I think there is somewhat of a worry that the AI head is going to hit the wall in the near term, a lot sooner than people anticipate, because of the rapid growth we're seeing in inference right now. And we're going to have these data centers start to go live in a couple years at a rapid pace that we won't be ready for it. So I think the near-term bottleneck right now that we're seeing in the AI economy is these AI utility players. And that is a new theme that we spotlighted in the Futurum AI 15, where I think there's a brand new thematic that's forming right now, and that's the bottleneck in physical power, racks, cooling, whichever firm can secure the data rails needed to run AI at global scale. And I think that you're seeing names like Nebius being able to supply 1,000 GB300 GPUs under their Microsoft Azure deal that got announced a couple years ago. You have names like Iron, who's able to provide cheap renewable power. I think it's 3.5 cents, plus the infrastructure to host all of those GPUs as well. So I think that there is a bucket that's kind of gaining a lot of popularity, where these firms used to be miners, used to be neoclouds, but now they're turning to this metered service with usage link cash flow that's being funded by the operating cash of these hyperscalers. So it's very different than the dot-com era, where I think a lot of people are seeing the market moves on a lot of these names are just like plus 600% in the past 6 months. I agree that causes me to have some heartburn of too much too quickly, but also it's very different, where back then in the dot-com era, a lot of the growth we saw in the names, they're ballooning because of VC money based on monetization of eyeballs and attention, where this is purely being funded by operating cash flow of these hyperscalers that they know will eventually be able to turn the faucet on once they have all the tools necessary to meet the capacity on their compute and cloud. And then eventually they're going to all the workloads are going to be monetized. So there is a business plan almost with all this CapEx spend. Where back then, 25 years ago, I think it was more of a shot in the dark and a hope, knowing that we're building the structural arteries of the internet. Eventually, all these applications would be built on top of it, but nobody knew which applications, and that's why it just ballooned at such a rapid pace. This one's a little more tailored. It's just video game numbers, some of these deals. So I think that's what's causing a lot of people to step back a bit, but I think we're all seeing how real AI is and scalability of it. And every 3 months you get reminded that the AI pie is getting bigger and bigger, and there's going to be more seats at the table with the necessary utensils to eat that AI pie.
Well, Shay, you said it. I'll throw my own analogy out here. It's the AI freight train, and it's not stopping anytime soon. We appreciate you being with us. That's Shay Boloor, the Chief Market Strategist at Futurum Equities. Thanks again.